Spring has returned to Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, and so has USL Championship Soccer. Good evening, everybody. I'm Matt Geico alongside Gene Klein, bringing you tonight's action on ESPN Plus as the Riverhounds Soccer Club returns home after 4 consecutive games on the road, taking on first-year Hartford Athletic in the first of 3 consecutive matches here on the South Side. Fans pouring in, eager to see what this team can do in year 2 of the Bob Lilly era, Gene. And winning at home and defending home turf was critical last year to that third-place finish.
Absolutely, Matt. The Riverhounds relied on this as a fortress. I think Bob Lilly and his coaching staff want to see it even more of a fortress for this coming year.
And as you see there, the last time they lost in their home opener was 2016. So a nice little run here for the Hounds at Highmark. One thing, Gene, that Coach Lilly talked about was making sure this is a more diverse, sophisticated offense, to use his words. And, well, so far so good. 5 goals by 5 different players. Yeah,
absolutely. I think last year they depended a little bit more on playing direct. Bob wants to see a little bit more of quality. He feels for them to get to that next step, perhaps, and get to the final, we need to be able to break teams down, because they're going to come in here, they're going to try to shut us down the best they can.
So the Hounds got 2 results, 2 ties on the road, and a win. Nico Brett scoring in the most recent game to give them their first victory. The captain on the Hartford side, Philip Rasmussen, he scored a PK goal at Charleston a couple of weeks ago, but Gene, Hartford outscored 11-2. They're going to be ravenous for their first victory here tonight.
You know, this is an experienced group, Matt. You know, there's a lot of quality in this side, and I know, again, the Riverhounds are concerned about that, and they know they can play. So the record is not indicative of the quality they have.
The USL Championship has risen in level from top to bottom, so it should be a heck of a challenge here tonight, despite the record of Hartford, the only team left without a point in the 36-team USL Championship. Back for the kickoff in the home opener for Pittsburgh at Highmark Stadium. Stay with us on ESPN+.
Okay, go ahead and stand up for me. Good. Okay.
Oh my gosh, this is just...
Now, if you get home and that's a little more tender.
Can I give you a hug? I can't believe it. I was in surgery this morning. Oh my gosh.
Call 412 Doctors to schedule an appointment at Allegheny Health Network.
The Hounds continue their homestand next Saturday, April 20th, when the St. Louis FC come to town for a 7 p.m. match at Highmark Stadium. You can use the promo code 20 at Ticketmaster and get 2 seats for any of the Riverhounds April matches for just $20. Gates open at 5:30, dollar beers until kickoff. Find out more at riverhounds.com or call 412-865-GOAL.
Welcome to Moe's! At Moe's, we've always been real Southwest. And we're proud of it. It's in our name, after all. And we've always been real people, using real Southwest flavors, making real Southwest eats. And we've always built everything right on the line, fresh, just for you. Real, fresh Southwest. Welcome to Moe's. Try Moe's new Moho chicken, made with all-natural chicken breast and a refreshing citrus sauce.
Explore a world of music on WQED.
Explore sweater sessions on WQED.
Explore educational opportunities.
Explore science.
Explore early childhood learning.
Explore Nebby on WQED.
Explore the power of the arts.
Explore Pittsburgh Eats.
Explore diversity on WQED.
Moments away from the kick of the Riverhounds' 7th opener here at Highmark Stadium, 19th overall here in this 20th anniversary season. I'm Matt Geico with Gene Klein, and let's see what these 2 teams have for us in terms of their respective starting 11s. And we'll begin with the home team, the Hounds, at 1-1-2, coming off a victory at 2-time defending champion Louisville. Dos Santos at the top of the formation. Steven brought in from Ottawa Fury in the offseason. Kevin Kerr starts his 7th home opener here in the attacking midfield. Brett Velarde across the top. Velarde, the rookie. Vunky Azil, great rookie last year, is joined by Forbes in the holding midfield. And then James Adewale, Greenspan, and Dover across the back. And Ben Lundgaard gets his 3rd start out of 5 games. He gets back-to-back starts, in fact, here today. On to Hartford and the Athletic. Gene, if there's one name on this card for the boys in green and blue that stands out, it's Jose Angulo, who scored the first goal in the history of this facility 6 years ago.
We have seen him score some great ones here, but hopefully for the Riverhounds that does not happen tonight, Matt.
Angulo had 15 in 2013 to win the USL Golden Boot and the scoring championship. Also of note, for the first time this season, Jacob Lissick does not start a game between the six for Hartford, as it'll be John Kempen, one of two loanees from Columbus Crew, Gene, that are in the starting 11 here for head coach Jimmy Nielsen in his first season, obviously in charge of Hartford, in his fifth season as a head coach. So we'll see John Kempen and Luis Argudo, fresh from the MLS.
And certainly, I'm sure Jimmy Nielsen's looking to sort of inject a little bit of different look into this team and get some life into it. I mean, they struggle with these road games. This is their fifth in a row now. They got three more after this. That is quite a task. I don't care where you are or what level you're playing, and you have to give them credit for hanging in. They played everybody tough. Had a difficult one in Tampa Bay last week, but I know the Riverhounds are expecting a very difficult game tonight, and Bob Lilly has told the Hounds they got to be ready.
Well, there's always the desire to play spoiler, right? That counts too. And a lot of times, I think those of us in our positions and those in the stands can maybe play up the home field advantage as far as the energy is concerned, because really energy is energy, and both teams can feel that in games like this one. The first of 3 in a row for the Hounds. You mentioned 4 in a row on the road, Gene, to start the season, or we talked about that in the opener, as here we go. The Hounds are playing on brand new field turf, so they're excited to see how this might be able to help them have more quality in the attacking third.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be a much truer play for them. I mean, I think last year we saw a lot of crazy bounces. The turf was, it was 7 years old last year, but it was very worn, because this turf is used not only for the Hounds to train, but academy teams are on here, and certainly it's available for other groups. So there's a lot of soccer that's been played on here over the years, and it was worn down. So this is going to be different. I think we'll see it set up a little bit better, more natural surface. The one thing, though, I think is that the Riverhounds definitely had a bit of an advantage last year, Matt. Teams did not want to come in here and play on this turf. But at the same time, I think the Hounds have the quality that Bob Lilly worked for very hard on the offseason, that they're going to be able to play some pretty good soccer on this new surface.
Ryan James tried to jam it upfield. He's part of the newer Hounds. The Hounds brought in this season James on left back, and you just saw him there as now Ben Lundgaard handles the ball. He's also new to the Hounds. But James played for Bob Lilly in Rochester a couple of years ago, last season with Nashville Soccer Club. Didn't quite fit in as well as he did in Rochester, so he hopes a return here with a familiar mentor. And Lilly will help him get his game back. As the ball's fought for possession, we have our first whistle and a foul called here against, rising up was Nikolai Linga, the Danish defender, and he knocked down one of the Hounds. That'll be a free kick for Pittsburgh, just about, 35 yards out.
Yeah, interesting. You mentioned Ryan James that Bob Lilly brought in. And of course, he is replacing the Hartford left back, Ray Lee. So there's a
header by Dos Santos, and Steven Dos Santos nearly authored a perfect introduction to the Riverhounds, at least their home fans. The 29-year-old from Cape Verde has 36 goals in 108 USL appearances. Gene, they didn't have a guy like Dos Santos last year, the big target at the top of the formation. Here's a giveaway. Hold on that, as Brett tried to get by but couldn't make it past Tyler David in the holding midfield.
No, we did not. And we saw Nico Brett there, who looks like he's playing underneath Dos Santos. And he was sort of required to do all that. And the Hounds, I think, got into a lot of situations where they tried to play balls in behind Nico and have him run on. Now they can play into Dos Santos, either in the air or on the ground, and he can bring Nico, Kevin Kerr into the game, Anthony Velarde on that right side. So I think that's what they've been working for throughout most of this preseason, as well as the offseason, to find the guys that can really break down defenses as opposed to outrun them or overpower them.
There's one of the new faces, Anthony Velarde, the rookie, makes a good play to Jordan Dover, who joins the fray here into the attacking third. He's shouldered down, no call. Now Hartford plays it into the middle, and taking it there is Tyler David. Wow, Linga sent Dover down to the pitch hard, but ruled to be a legal shoulder-to-shoulder challenge. But the Hounds have it back. Here's Kevin Kerr, Mr. Riverhound in his 7th season. Gave it over to James. Working the outside, but he's offside as Ryan James on the give from Kerr. Kevin Kerr has 5 goals in 6 Highmark Stadium openers. The memorable hat trick against Harrisburg in 2015. Still to this day, that's the only Hounds win in a home opener, but they have tied their last 2. Tied Penn FC, now in a holding pattern as Penn FC until 2020, but the former Harrisburg team came in and battled the Hounds to a 0-0 draw last year in the opener, right at the end of March. Here's Toby Adewale rising up to win that ball. Adewale, one of 10 returning Hounds. But now Alex Dixon. Dixon, who played for Lilly in Rochester a few years back, gave that one up. Kerr tries to win it. Here's Canardo Forbes wearing the captain's armband for the Hounds, but he lost control. Now making a move up the far side of the pitch was Argudo, and he's denied. Argudo, the second of 2 MLS loanees in the lineup tonight for Hartford, as we said. Argudo takes this throw. Hartford kind of pinned to the sideline at the moment. Kyle Karinga lofts one. Off a Hound body and out.
Matt, it looks like Hartford pretty much lined up in a 4-1-4-1. We'll see the ex-Riverhound Angulo up as the true striker, the number 9, and wearing number 9 up front. We'll see Tyler David sitting in between the midfield line and the back line, and serving as a screen in front of the 2 center backs, Lingo and DeVitt. So they're going to try to keep it, I'm sure, pretty compact in the midfield. They don't want to open up any channels into Dos Santos and others. And as a result of that, it looks like Bob Lilly has gone pretty much to a 4-2-3-1 as opposed to the 4-1-4-1 that he ran against Louisville City last week. So, and with that 4-2, he's going to have Canardo Forbes and Thomas Vankia Zeal holding in front of the back 4 with the rookie Anthony Velarde, the Hounds veteran Kevin Kerr on the left side, and Nico Brett underneath Dos Santos. So definitely a bit of an attacking formation. I think he's going to really push forward with those 5 players and know that he has a solid block of guys behind that.
Dos Santos grabs this throw, hands off to Vankia Zeal, wearing number 17 this year. Kerr's open, and he missed the top right corner.
And right there, I think that's where Kevin Kerr is very valuable. And he is able to find pockets of space in between the midfield line and the back line, and we can see him coming a little bit narrow, and so he is able to get those little spots.
Linga drives it across the field. Taking on the move, Dixon, almost dispossessed by Dos Santos, who was a handful. He tortured Louisville's back line last week in that 1-0 Hounds victory. Tight field, too. He was in his element. There wasn't a lot of room to move, so he used that big frame. And here Brett takes out a member of the Hartford Athletic. And yes, referee Austin Saney says, all right, calm down here, as Karinga does rise to his feet. Hartford tried to put it into play quickly, and they ended up driving it off of a Hound and out into touch.
Yeah,
and we take a look here at the chance.
Spot. You can see Kevin Kerr in front of the back 4, and also Tyler David cannot slide over quick enough to stop that shot, and he was not far off the target with that particular delivery.
Hartford working that right side almost exclusively. Rasmussen, the captain, wanted to hook up to Angulo in the box. It was fended off. Now Joe Greenspan rises high, the 3rd-year Hound out of the Naval Academy. Makes a good clearance. He had more than a dozen last week at Louisville, did Greenspan, as the Hounds held on late after the Nico Brett PK goal past the 70th minute. Ray Lee charging ahead. Last year's Riverhound left back. Well, he wins a throw in here at the very least. Greenspan nodded it out.
Yeah, that looked familiar, seeing Ray Lee flying down that left flank and trying to get on the end of a diagonal ball from one of the center backs. Last year it was Greenspan delivering that ball. So we would expect to see Ray Lee push a little bit high. And you can see right now in this formation, the 2 center backs are pretty spread out, and they're leaving the flank for Ray Lee and Kyle Curringer and allow them to have that width.
Greenspan out, jumps Angulo. Here come the Hounds on the counter. Dos Santos holds it up now. Gives to James on the overlap. Right back to the edge of the area to Kevin Kerr.
Here's Kevin Kerr again receiving in front of their backs.
Cross to no one home on this near side. Dover tries to join the party late, but it's flicked past him onto the boot of Giuseppe Gentile, native of Florida, but Swiss heritage. This will be a throw-in for the Hounds as Gentile couldn't keep it in. Gentile played for Richmond last year.
Yeah, I was going to say, we saw him with the old Richmond Kickers. Disappointing not to see them in the league this year after years and years of some great battles with the Richmond Kickers, and we wish them all the best.
As they go to League Two, or League One, pardon me, one down from the USL Championship, as this league is now called. A rebrand in the offseason. Actually, it was late in the regular season, in fact, that was executed. Canardo Forbes to Velarde, all-time leading scorer at Fresno Pacific University for the second time in 2 seasons. The Hounds go to NCAA Division II. Here's the other man they found from that division, Vanki Azil, knocking it back to the back line in Greenspan.
Yeah, that's a credit to Bob Lilly. I mean, he understands that, you know, all these coaches in USL, MLS are looking at the power conferences, as we see a long ball headed, intended for Nico Brett. And he and the Riverhounds coaching staff do their homework, and they look for players in other areas that they know have the potential to play in this league, and also I think have a high ceiling that they're going to continue to develop, as we've seen with Vanki Azil.
Vanki Azil played at the University of Charleston, West Virginia. But here's Angulo, has a man, Rasmussen, and his one touch goes high.
Yeah, that was a great little counter by Hartford, and a good ball from Jose Angulo to Rasmussen, and the Riverhounds separated a little bit from Adewale, and they were able to find that gap in between.
Angulo has Hartford's only assist on the season. You think Angulo, you think goals, obviously. And he had 23 of them for the Riverhounds in 2 seasons. Still ranking 6th on the all-time list for this franchise. But he connected there. A ball through the channel, and Rasmussen, maybe he had a little bit more time to settle it once, but he knocked it over Lundgaard's goal. So Ben Lundgaard gets the start for the Hounds. And this is the first time all year the Riverhounds have gone back to the same keeper in consecutive games. Maybe Bob Lilly tipping his hand as to who he's liked better in the opening 4. It's Kyle Morton as the other half of that goaltending tandem.
Well, both of them have been very strong, I think, and Lundgaard did very, very well last week with against Louisville City, so I'm sure it's difficult for Kyle Morton, but at the same time, it seems like that Bob wants to go with a hot hand, and we had the clean sheet last week, so he's going to keep Lundgaard in, who's been very, very steady.
Kevin Kerr can't believe that it's a foul called against him there, right near the touch line, as we take a glance at Rasmussen's chance.
And there's that little ball in between Adewale and James, and they're certainly going to have to tighten that up. I mean, Ryan James got a little bit caught up the field and separated, and a terrific run by Rasmussen into that channel.
James in some trouble there. Gives back to Toby Adewale, who made 20-plus starts last year. Actually, 20 exactly, 24 appearances for Adewale. Still just 23 years old in his 3rd season pro. And Adewale took the worst of that one as he rose high to win a ball. Well, Gene, do you notice the ball landing a little bit softer so far? It does seem to be a little bit that way that I've noticed in the opening 12 minutes.
Yeah, I think when you get the brand new artificial surface and it's not worn down yet, and it's going to sit up a little bit better, and you're not going to have some of the real big bounces that you might in a few years, or certainly that we saw at Highmark Stadium really the last 2 years. So it's going to sit down a little bit better, and it's going to be easier for the players to control. They're going to be able to, they're not going to be overly concerned about their first touch anymore, because it's more of a natural rotation of the ball, and the ball's going to stay down.
That's exactly what Kevin Kerr said, in fact, almost word for word. Not so worried about the first touch. You don't have to focus so much on that. You can actually try to make a play right away. Dover, native Canadian, slides it past Gentile to Velarde. Velarde to Dover. The Hounds being patient here now. Hounds returned 10 players from last season. Double the amount they returned from 17 to 18 when Bob Lilly took over. Here's Kerr.
You can see a little bit, though, Matt. One of the things with the new surface is you can see the rubber pellets chalking up when they do ping a ball pretty well with some decent pace, like right there as Thomas went over to Ryan James, and you can see it kick up a little bit in the air.
Flick on from James to Kerr.
And that's simply because those rubber pellets have not really worn all the way through the surface.
Tommy V knocks it back to Forbes. And Kerr running on. Inside the 18. Kerr's cross.
Oh, yes!
Dos Santos! And the Hounds have the first goal of the home opener. And it's Steven Dos Santos. For those about to rock, we salute you. 1-0 Hounds on the give from Kerr.
Terrific little play, and what a delivery from Kevin Kerr. We've seen that so often over the years. Again, able to find space. We're able to connect with Kevin Kerr. He has a second to look up and find Dos Santos, and that is what Dos Santos gives the Riverhounds that maybe we did not have last year, Matt.
Well, we talked about it. We hyped him up, and here he gets his first Hounds goal in front of the Steel Army, no less.
You know, and really soars over two Hartford defenders who didn't really couldn't get a body on him to challenge him in the air.
Dos Santos listed at 6'4". He was inches away from knotting one home at Louisville just before Nico Brett won the game, essentially with that PK. So he's been sniffing around, and we haven't really seen him uncork the big boot yet. I've seen it in practice a few times, but here Dos Santos shows he's a versatile man, and he's a dangerous man at the edge of the six. His 37th goal here in his 109th USL appearance.
Well, again, he gives the Hounds something I think really we've lacked the last couple of years with that big. He's a target type of player, but he's very mobile, and he has terrific pace, so he can get in behind players as we see him closing down the Hartford back four. But again, someone dangerous in the air that allows players like Nico Brett and Kevin Kerr to play off of him and go into spots that they can, that they find they're a little bit more dangerous. And they're going to, and both Nico and Kevin are both great marksmen. They're going to deliver some passes, but they're also, I think, going to see their share of goals.
There you see Dos Santos backing in against Ray Lee, and then he throws his hands up. He did not like the officiating last week at Louisville. Several times he wagged his finger at the man in charge.
Yeah, he got a little demonstrative at Louisville, and he's going to have to be careful with that because.
Well, he gets some leeway as a veteran, obviously.
Yeah.
A little more than, say, someone like Anthony Velarde or, well, some of the younger Hounds would.
Just hope he gets some leeway from the officials. So.
Here's Sem de Wit, the Dutchman. There's a Dutchman and 5 Danes on this Hartford team. Jimmy Nielsen, native of Denmark, drawing from his little corner of Europe as Greenspan clears this out. Ray Lee very involved up the pitch so far. And he makes the throw here to the loanee Argudo. And what is this? The near side assistant is pointing in the Hounds' direction.
It went out. It went out of touch. So
must have been.
Yeah, give it to Jordan Dover. Deep in the Riverhounds end. Yeah, I mean, Jimmy Nielsen, again, if you're a Hartford supporter, you got to keep the faith because, as we said at the outset, at the beginning, this is an experienced side with a lot of quality, some considerable experience, not only in the USL, but also in Europe. And, of course, Jimmy has all the experience in the world, not only as a coach, but was fantastic goalkeeper for Sporting Kansas City, MLS All-Star a couple of years. So, he knows what it's going to take, and it's just a difficult start. And I think for Hartford, what they don't want is to go down early in Pittsburgh. That makes it makes their task even more and more difficult because when you're on a big losing streak, you don't want to concede that first one.
And Hartford gave up one in the first half last week against Tampa, and then it seemed like their energy level just dropped if you watch that one as the Rowdies poured on 3 in the second half. And that's going to happen. And they still have to endure a couple of more road matches after this one as historic Dillett Stadium is prepared for their arrival in early May. And they're a much anticipated home opener. More so from the players than the fans, I think, at this point. Velarde tripped up by Ray Lee. That'll be a free kick for the Riverhounds. The Hounds now even on the season in goal differential, 6-4, 6 against. and 6 from 6 different players. So the plan's working so far. As Greenspan, who has one of those goals, lays it into the middle. Bunky Azil with Rasmussen on his back, turns it over to Adewale, and Brett takes a tumble, and that's a foul call against Karinga.
Yeah, and 6 goals and 6 different players. I think that is really impressive, and Bob really has to be pretty happy with that. That there's spread the attack all around, and not only that. I mean, there's Velarde, right idea, but a little bit too far out to try to get that ball in behind the back 4.
A little hopeful from Velarde, but he's going to try some things. That's what Coach Lovely has him in the lineup for.
Yeah, they're pretty high on him. I mean, they really, as a rookie, I know Bob feels that he has adjusted to the speed of play of the pro game very, very quickly. Maybe a little bit faster than they even believed. They thought it's going to take a while from him coming from D2 college soccer, but he has adjusted well, and you can see he's very, very comfortable with the ball, and will do some very creative stuff.
Hartford, a bit of a promising entry ball to Angulo, but he might have handled it for a bit too long. Now he finds his man in Argudo, who gives it over to Ray Lee. So Hartford trying to create something here, but it's fended away eventually there by Kenardo Forbes, who backtracked. Or pardon me, that's Jordan Dover.
Yeah, Jordan Dover won that one. But we also see Dos Santos come very, very deep to receive that. We saw that a lot last week against Louisville. But what that does then is opens up as soon as he comes in to bring some guys into the game. Nico Brett is streaking and really trying to stretch that back 4 a little bit. So the Hounds have some weapons. It's going to be dangerous, and Hartford's going to have to learn to deal with those guys and how they're playing, because we're very mobile, I think, with Nico Velarde and Kevin Kerr.
Exactly. 3 guys that are tough to get past. And speaking of that, here's Brett taking it away, but the sliding tackle from Linga disrupted his intentions, and that leads to Hartford possession. They try the long ball here. Greenspan's there on the end of it. Big Joe, dependable in the center of that back line for the Hounds last year. He really came into his own.
Yeah, they're not, I saw a little bit of frustration from Jimmy Nielsen down at the bench, and I think he's thinking, we're not going to win too many of those. Great ball.
Forbes to Dos Santos, cracks it on target, and a big stop by Kempen. John Kempen is heard from for the first time in this match in the 21st minute.
And he's letting his midfield have an earful, because Kenardo Forbes, I believe, played that one correct, and terrific ball. And again, the mobility we're talking about, Dos Santos is able to peel off the back shoulder of Lingo, and he didn't stay with him, and find that little channel between he and Ray Lee.
Linga just 20 years old. He's had a couple of gaffes early on, had an own goal at Indy, ended up being the decider in a 1-0 loss 2 weeks ago, and also had a giveaway at Louisville that led directly to a goal.
I mean, what a terrific ball from Kenny Forbes. I mean, and we have seen that for the last 2 years, and he has composure, he has vision. He's really able to connect all the lines from the midfield back line and find guys in the right space and find them early, which we saw right away. So that delivery was really good. But again, a good little run from Steven Dos Santos.
Kenardo Forbes set career highs in goals, assists, and points last year for the Riverhounds. He settled into that captain's role late in the year. 4 goals, 8 helpers, and playing in his 4th season under Bob Lilly. So Bob knows what he's getting from his field general, if you will. Kenardo Forbes playing a little bit further back in the pitch right now, with the Hounds deploying the 5 attackers ahead of him, or pardon me, 4 attackers ahead of him at the moment.
Yeah, and I think what Kenardo sees is that there is some space between, as you can see, the 4 midfielders, and he's seeing some space in behind Rasmussen and Luis Agardo, and he's able to make those runs, and if they can find him, that puts a little bit more pressure. But now we see Kevin Kerr finding some space out wide.
We have our first train passing of the season, 23 minutes in. That's all part of the scenery here at Highmark Stadium. I'm Matt Geica. Gene Klein's alongside as James wanted to find Velarde inside the box. Velarde touches it down, has some options here with Brett making a short run, but instead he'll give back to Kerr. The Hounds have had the lion's share of the possession in this one. They've outpossessed teams 2 out of 4 times so far this year, but it's been hit and miss with that. That's what Lily wants more at home, is more patience, and we're seeing that right now.
Really seeing that, and yeah, I was going to point that out, Matt. You beat me to it. And ooh.
Well, Kerr drives one, and that's off the leg. Well, backtracking was, I believe that was Linga.
The possession's been significant advantage for the Hounds, but showing a lot of patience and composure that that I know that they've been pushing for all preseason. And again, can they break down the Hartford back line and really back five almost with Tyler David sitting in front of them as that holding midfielder.
Angulo tried to chip it by Adewale and Greenspan. No sail. Now it'll be handled by John Kempen, who's familiar with Highmark Stadium. He's faced the Hounds a few times. He was a 7-year backup at Sporting KC from 2010 through 16, and now in the Columbus Crew organization. But he's been on loan basically the last decade of his life, and a lot of that time spent in the USL. As Ray Lee bumps with Dover. Two outside backs come together here.
And I think this is what Hartford's going to have to do a little bit. They have to keep the ball. I mean, the last few times they've just hit some long ones, very, very direct, trying to maybe find a long diagonal ball to Ray Lee or playing some long balls up to Gentile or to Jose Angulo. And these long air balls, they're not going to be, Jose Angulo is not going to be Joe Greenspan in the air, period. So they're going to have to be a little bit smarter with that and try to hold on to it.
Argudo dispossessed by Greenspan, who's had a strong start to this one. 25th minute, if you're joining us late. Steven Dos Santos scored in the 14th from Kevin Kerr. A header stuck right in the back of the net, down to our right. The Hounds in the white, Hartford in green with some blue trim. White numerals and names. Nico Brett cuts through. Last year's 15-goal man wins that ball. And now Forbes takes over. This is the first pro sports matchup between Pittsburgh and Hartford since the Penguins played the Whalers in April 1997.
That's some research, buddy.
I was begging to get that one in.
You were, man. You couldn't wait for that one.
Mario Lemieux, Jaromir Jagr, they had goals in that game. You may remember them if you're a hockey fan. But it has been a while, but these two cities have come together. Just not in soccer before. Takeaway here, strong one from Sem David, who ran right through Dos Santos. But again, Hartford just can't connect the 2 and 3 passes together that they need.
It seems like they're trying to force it. They can't. They need we talked about the Hounds are doing so well. They need a little bit more of that patience, and rather than just trying to force things through and catch them on that quick counter, because right now they're just completely chasing the game.
Feels like about 70% possession for the Hounds.
And that's a giveaway that the Hounds don't want.
There is a giveaway, yes. One of the few careless balls that Greenspan and the Hounds have sent here. But Forbes, again, that work rate, he gets it right back. And then Dover takes a tumble. Gentile tripped him up. And there's Bob Lilly standing right there on the sideline doing his thing, gesturing. He's a passionate man. And it's funny, Gene, you watch these games on the road. Some of them in the MLS stadiums so far this season, so it's kind of quiet. Small crowds. You can hear Bob over the crowd mic easily. I knew what he was trying to say from way back home here in Pittsburgh.
I think you could hear Bob over the mic at Old Trafford at Manchester United.
Maybe. I'd like to see that, actually. As Velarde again, it's Gentile whistled for the foul, and now he's getting in the face of head referee Austin Saney, who has had enough.
He's basically had enough and said, that's persistent fouling, and I got you, and anymore it's going to happen. I'm going to reach into my pocket. So, dangerous spot for that Hartford has to defend. Good spot for Velarde. He's going to try to whip it in. We're going to see Greenspan, Dos Santos, Bonky Azil. They're all going to try to connect back towards that far post. And there it is, right
Velarde
there.
serving it, driving it into the area and headed clear by Linga. Not all the way into safety, though. Ray Lee takes care of the rest. Riverhounds last year lost just twice here at home. Lundgaard with the ball at his feet. Ben Lundgaard, let's introduce you to him, by the way. Delaware native, 23 years old. Played at Virginia Tech, where he had 23 shutouts in 4 years. And was the 21st overall pick by the Columbus Crew last year in the Super Draft of MLS. And now he's here in Pittsburgh.
Columbus Crew, well-stocked in goalkeepers.
Yeah, we're finding that out. They have two members of their organization here facing each other.
Yeah.
on opposite sides of the pitch.
I wonder if, of course, they have who's probably the #1 for the U.S. men's national team, and Zach Steffens, who also played here for a little bit on loan.
Pinball action, Dover! Misfire.
Again, good stuff from the Riverhounds.
They're just spending more time in Hartford's end than vice versa, and you have to figure eventually that's going to pay off.
Yeah, we see Jordan Dover, really coming pretty high for that one. Not normally going to see you right back and getting a shot inside the D, and did well with it and almost connected.
I was just going to say, he was in the middle of the pitch there. I don't think I've seen him venture that far toward the midline ever, at least not last year. But it was the right play. He took advantage of some open space. This is John Kempen. Kempen on to Linga.
And I'll tell you, the Hounds, as they force a turnover again, but their pressure in their attack third, bad one there from Canardo Forbes.
But Brett wins it back.
But we win it right back. I mean, and that's where I was going. Their pressure and their attack third of the field has been really super. They've been able to square off and take away a lot of space and really almost section off a part of the field that it's making it very difficult for Hartford to play out of those areas.
Trouble for Karinga, but he makes a strong turn with Kevin Kerr in his back pocket. Kerr runs him over, but advantage given by the referee. Well, it was, and now it won't be given. It's pulled on back for the free kick in the Hartford end of the field. Hartford, one of 7 expansion teams in USL Championship this year. It's expanded to 36 squads, even with a couple of the losses in Richmond and Penn FC.
Yeah, that's just
Toronto FC too.
Really amazing. It just shows you where the game is in this country, and the interest and and also what's great to see is the professionalism and the quality of play.
Linga has some room here. Lofts one with some backspin, but that'll be easily dribbled into safety.
A little ambitious. I don't know what he was thinking there. If he was waiting for Dixon to get into that particular spot, but not really. There was no one there to receive it.
Lundgaard holding on to it for a while, and now he drives it waist height, about 3/4 of the way down the pitch. Showed off that leg last week at Louisville.
But again, great pressure from the Hounds. They are not giving Hartford any room at all to play. And we see Ray
Lee. Wow, he was stuck by Dover.
Yeah,
got the foot perfectly in there.
Second tackle in a row on Dover and his ex-mate Ray Lee.
They were on opposite sides of the field last year for the same squad. They're going to be seeing plenty of each other tonight if the first 30 minutes is any indication. Dos Santos chasing against Linga. Dos Santos nearly pulled it by him, and he would have been 1v1 with the keeper.
Dos Santos has been a handful for the Linga, man. He really, really has. I mean, he's struggling to keep up with him, struggling to find him.
Karinga to the middle of the park. Rasmussen right back to Karinga. Hartford's been outshot in every game but one. They actually outshot Louisville, 21-19. That's a lot of shots, especially at the home of the champs.
Yep.
But Louisville
they
pulled
played
out the
them
win.
very, very well, and it was encouraging. And I think that's why the Tampa Bay loss was so disappointing for them last week.
Lee on that stronger left foot of his, slings it to Argudo. Now back to Lee.
This is better from Hartford.
Gentile, first real look of ambition here and creativity, but that cross was nodded away. And Brett takes care of it, sending it all the way out to the center circle. 33rd minute. Hounds up 1-0 in their 19th home opener. It is their 20th anniversary season. Franchise established in 1999. The Hounds Hall of Fame has been created. We have our first class. They'll be inducted in July. It's a big year for the Riverhounds. And we'll be looking at some history of the Hounds through video features throughout the season. You'll be seeing one of those at halftime here on the broadcast. In fact, Argudo collecting for Hartford. Linga right through, and a good ball for Tyler David.
Best stretched it off from the game from Hartford. They've been able to keep it. They've showed some patience. Pretty good movement into spots in the midfield. Keeping it, they're keeping the the ball moving.
Lingo to Lee, the Missouri native, cuts inside.
And you know, the Hounds have been forced to drop back a little bit deeper.
Rasmussen slides it through. Dixon, good speed to get around. Adewale, put it into the middle. Gentile has half open net to look at, and he drives it off the body of, I believe, Greenspan, and then the shot goes over the bar.
You know, and I was expecting Gentile to hit that first time. I think it, you know, got caught in his back foot a little bit, and he didn't want to take that chance, but it did very, very well with Dixon finding some spots. And like I said, that, you know, Hartford really had a good 5-minute stretch there.
Dixon has played in MLS, played for Bob Lilly in 2015.
He found that spot again between Adewale and Ryan James. It comes across. Yeah, it was on his left foot.
And it was Dover who got in the way.
Yep. They cut him off.
The ball was behind Jose Angulo, who was desperate to score against his former club there. Maybe overran the spot just a touch. Dixon at 29, showing a great burst, though. I think he surprised Adewale with that first step.
Yeah, it's a couple times there that, you know, he's been able to get there, and Ryan James is going to have to be very concerned and very aware of his positioning all the time, because obviously they want to sneak Dixon in between he and Adewale.
Lingo on the handle, so Hartford pushes back in the last 5 minutes or so. Deep right footer off of James's skull and out toward the Monongahela River. And those seats in their second year right there alongside the far edge of the pitch.
Yeah, another long one that time to the right bat, Kyle Karinga. I liked Hartford more when they were putting it on the, keeping it on the surface and knocking around and forcing the Riverhounds to chase a little bit.
No doubt Hartford has been better than its record indicates. 0-5 coming in, the only team in USL yet to pick up a result of any form. They've gotten this tough assignment. 8 in a row away from home. Linga bounds this off of a Hound's foot, and again, Linga not finding the connection.
He is not, and again, those balls that are going to be try to force or playing behind Joe Greenspan and Toby Adewale are, you know, that's a bit of a, it's not a high odds pass, let me put it that way. It's, you know, they're going to struggle with those.
Kerr pressuring, nearly forced Sem DeVitt into a turnover, but DeVitt spun to the outside and found his fellow backline mate Karinga. Lingo to Lee here on the near wing, right in front of Coach Jimmy Nielsen. He coached OKC Energy. This is his second expansion club that he's headed up in USL. OKC Energy, he was there for 4 seasons, from 13 to 17. Angulo back near the midfield stripe. Helps take the ball back for the Hartford Athletic.
Nothing.
But David spun down, ball taken away. Forbes did the job there. Bob Lilly at the other side of the pitch here in the other dugout down to our left in his 19th season as a pro coach, second here in Pittsburgh. He brought that brand of structured football to Pittsburgh last year, and it paid off in a team record shutout mark. Led the league, did the Hounds, in clean sheets. And now they're trying to add some offense this year.
Yeah, I think what Bob did so well is really, again, to create a culture where the expectations are a little bit higher, and where he wants to give this city a team that's going to be competing for a championship every year. And he understands the makeup of the city when you have to compete with the Penguins and the Steelers and the Pirates and the University of Pittsburgh. And it's a tough entertainment dollar, and he knows that. I think Bob feels that year one was to create this culture, to be organized, to be hard, to be competitive, to give 100% every game. And now year two, let's can we be a little bit more entertaining? Can we bring some really nice soccer to Highmark Stadium?
Lilly returns his assistant Dan Visser. Actually got his start under Lilly's predecessor, and stayed on. That was Dave Brandt, who was here previous. But Mark Pulisic has stepped away from at least the Hounds coaching staff. Hunter Gilstrap, former Hounds keeper, returns as the goalkeeping coach. Here's a quick combination back to Dos Santos, who was wiped out about 5 yards outside the box. And that's a pretty easy call, at least to make from up here, I thought.
Yeah.
And it'll be a dangerous free kick for the Hounds as the first half melts away. We're down to the final several minutes of it.
But that's a good example, Matt, of what we've been talking about, how the Hounds are very, very patient, trying to combine, working some 1-2s in the attack third, not trying to force anything, trying to force the Hartford defenders into difficult situations, and they draw a foul. And now you have a guy like Kevin Kerr. This is where he is very, very dangerous, trying to pick somebody out or even going to goal himself.
Kerr already has an assist in this match.
He's going to be looking for green standard Dos Santos.
Slips one inside. Dos Santos was making the run. He was the target again, big number 8. But Hartford defends it well. Lee to the middle. Dover got the first touch. Velarde. Anthony Velarde, strong with both feet, uses his left to get it back to Dover. Down to our right, great to see a full supporters section, or pretty close to it. That section was expanded for the playoff game last year against Bethlehem Steel, and the Steel Army is out in full force.
No, the stands have really, really picked up. They look really almost full here, and it looks like a great crowd on a terrific night here in Pittsburgh.
Yeah, about 70 degrees, nice breeze coming off of the Mon, as we call it here, Monongahela River. DeWitt drops it back to Kempen. And Kempen right back to DeWitt. 40th minute now. Hartford trying to find one before the halftime whistle sounds. Adewale dumped into the boards over there. Those boards are close to the sideline. Gentile again playing over the edge.
And it's just the referee immediately put his flag up to indicate a foul, so the Riverhounds will play this one out.
This is the 4th of what will be 5 playoff teams that Hartford will play on the road. Playoff teams from last year, I mean, in the USL. Already faced Charleston and Louisville and Indy. They still have Red Bulls 2 coming up next week. Out in New Jersey. Dover, formerly of the Toronto FC youth system. Velarde wanted to get by David and at least won the throw. Dover, quick one. He has Brett open. Brett pulls it back. Brett to his fellow Jamaican Canardo Forbes. And there's the Scotsman Kevin Kerr all the way over on the touchline. Kerr gets it right back from Brett. Velarde cuts inside. Hounds looking for some ideas here at the edge of the 18. Again, Dos Santos was charging toward the 6, but bite off the ball, and that was a little too far for him from Velarde.
Yeah, nice little bump from Ray Lee to prevent Dos Santos from moving towards that. But again, some good movement from the Riverhounds. Terrific mobility. We see that front three of Velarde, Nico Brett, and Kevin Kerr moving all over the place up there, and that's making it very difficult for Hartford to track and keep to track these players and really deny some of these deliveries into the dangerous spots.
David scans his options, sprays it wide. Karinga. Hartford probing at the moment, trying to find some space in that Hounds formation. James wins it, Bunky Azil has it. Velarde pursued from behind by Ray Lee, who now backpedals. And Tommy Bunky Azil, number 17, with the flowing dreadlocks, set the Hounds rookie record for minutes played in the season last year. Kind of a Swiss Army knife at the end of the year, playing a little bit outside, playing in the attacking midfield at times, and mostly at the holding spot.
Yeah, I was going to say, but Bob Lilly did not hesitate to use it. I don't know if there was a position he didn't play except for goalkeeper, but
goalkeeper and forward, I guess, were the two that were out.
But everywhere else, Bob was not afraid to put him in any of those positions, and now again hoping that they've solidified the lineup and stabilized the roster a little bit where they can keep Thomas where he's probably most effective is that traditional number 6 or that holding midfielder.
Ryan James just took that ball away with a great step. Anticipation was beautiful. He was tripped away from the ball, but referee Saney ruled advantage. The Hounds, though, can't really make anything of it on the quick break up the pitch, so they'll try the more deliberate route. 43rd minute. Can't imagine too much stoppage will be added on. So we're getting toward the end of the opening half of play at Highmark Stadium. 3 consecutive home matches. Time for the Hounds to pick up some points. You know, that's the way they're thinking. They found their first win of the season last week at Louisville. Previous to that, a couple of 2-2 draws at Bethlehem Steel and at the Swope Park Rangers out in Kansas City. And here's Kerr, who scored at Bethlehem, leaving it for Forbes. He doesn't have a goal yet this season.
Oh, nice
Slips
ball,
it through to
Nico Brett.
Steps around, slid it through the 6, and just misfired there. And what's the call here? The ball will trickle out. And a yellow card has been issued to Karinga of Hartford. Away from the play, I didn't see anything there. Very interesting. It's the 44th minute. Karinga goes in the books.
I'm not sure he blew the whistle. I mean, I didn't see a flag up. But,
So it's anybody's guess what happened there. Hartford ends up with the free kick. I don't think I saw an offside either, so I'm just trying to scan through the memory banks here. Linga, we're going to add 1 minute of stoppage, by the way, we've heard from the 4th official. Brad Newman at the table tonight. Here's Argudo, the Ecuadorian-born player. Adewale on it. And gives the Lundgaard, it gives him a playful shove ahead, as if to say, hey, let's get it going. Let's try to get one more chance before we hear the double whistle. Lundgaard at 6'5". He was on loan all year last season with Indy, but Owen Fawn Williams played every game for the Indy 11, so he never saw the pitch, did Lundgaard. This time around, the loan's been more fruitful for him. His 3rd appearance in 5 matches. Into stoppage time now, first half.
Yeah, he's a young keeper, showing a lot of potential. And I think he's only going to get better the more games he has under his belt.
Dover couldn't make anything of that. He had Velarde breaking into open space. Chested down here by David. Lanky holding
tremendous
midfielder.
Pressure from the Hounds areas of the field. You know, where you see double teams, and they're really trying to make the field as small as they can for Hartford, and they're doing a great job of it.
Maybe one last opportunity to attack. Hounds will have to find some urgency here to get something out of this, but Velarde will give to Greenspan, and I think that's probably going to do it now. Ball out. Referee Saney looks at his watch. No, he'll allow a little bit more from the guys in green. Linga going deep here for Dixon, making the run right up the center of the pitch, but the Hounds control the carom, and now that'll do it. So Hartford, one last threat, but we've reached the completion of 45 minutes plus 1 here in Pittsburgh at Highmark. Steven Dos Santos' goal early on in the 14th minute has Pittsburgh on top and in a position to try to claim its first home victory of the year and its 2nd consecutive this season. Still a ways to go as Dos Santos and Brett chat some things over. Gene, what'd you like from the first half here?
Well, I think the Riverhounds did very, very well keeping the game in possession, or possessing the game a little bit, but there was a stretch that Hartford had for about 5 or 10 minutes, and about the 30th minute on, they did well, and they're going to have to do more of that in the second half.
Well, we're looking forward to the second half. We're also looking forward to this video feature coming up at halftime as we look back at 20 years of Hounds history. But before that, we have some messages for you on ESPN+. Pittsburgh 1, Hartford 0. After 45 in Pittsburgh, we shall return to the banks of the Mon in just a moment.
Club, nestled in the Laurel Highlands of southwestern Pennsylvania, is now open to the public. Enjoy 18 holes of championship golf with a new island green and fully stocked pro shop. Our clubhouse features a large ballroom for weddings or private parties, 2 restaurants serving delicious food, a sports bar, 2 state-of-the-art golf simulators, and an outdoor patio with gas fire pit and picturesque view. Pleasant Valley Golf Club, now open to the public.
All right, that's enough, you two. Don't paint your brother. No, you can't eat the clay. What can I say? Moms just know. I'm Christine Sorensen, and as a mom, I know parents know a lot. But for the few things we don't know, there's Kidsburg, your go-to resource for all the great things in our area for kids and families. Everything from kid-friendly events, creative learning, and help for parents. It's every Wednesday on KDKA TV, emailed to your inbox and online at kidsburg.org.
Okay, we hear you. Due to popular demand, #1 Cochran Nissan's 3-store supergroup just added store #4.
Introducing #1 Cochran Nissan Cranberry and grand opening offers at all 4 stores. Lease the all-new Altima from just $209 a month or 0 APR for 3 years plus $2,000 customer cash and $1,000 extra for trades at #1 Cochran Nissan now.
Okay, go ahead and stand up for me. Good. Okay.
Oh my gosh, this is just...
Now, if you get home and that's a little more tender.
Can I give you a hug? I can't believe it. I was in surgery this morning. Oh my gosh.
Call 412 Doctors to schedule an appointment at Allegheny Health Network.
Hounds up at the half in their home opener. It's a banner season for Pittsburgh Riverhounds Soccer Club as they celebrate the 20th anniversary of their founding back in 1999. And the Hounds video staff and multimedia team has put together a series of videos on the history of the club. We'll turn it all the way back to the origins of the franchise for this special presentation tonight on ESPN+. Enjoy.
Yeah, Paul Heasley had a vision for soccer in the Pittsburgh area. He wanted to create a legacy and start an outdoor professional soccer team, and he certainly did that.
You know, he didn't have a soccer background, but he saw enough of it through me that he was able to understand the need for it here in Pittsburgh. I think, you know, with having, you know, his business sense, you know, and seeing the love I had for the game and the unavailability of it here, you know, he was able to put those two together and figure out a way to get it here.
There was an enormous buzz immediately because I think there was that lapse after the spirit had left, and people wanted to see a higher level of the game.
My dad just really wanted this to be for the community. My brother was the inspiration, but he wanted to give that inspiration to everybody.
It was really important you know, for us to really embrace the community, engage the community, and we were a big part of the youth soccer landscape, going to soccer meetings, doing camps and workshops, creating a good product on the field was really important to draw fans, and that, you know, that team was a playoff team. It made a strong connection and really launched the Riverhounds back in 1999.
It's a wonderful thing to see this continuing because this is what he envisioned. This is what my brother started. And to have this 20 years later, I think would have amazed him.
We're very proud that the club is now in its 20th season. That was his vision 20 plus years ago, and it's come to fruition.
And Jameson's going to get to the ball off the giveaway, and Bradford Jameson's got the first goal, and San Antonio FC is on the board. On his way, here's Ryan Sierakowski to the penalty area. Sierakowski! Oh! Weaving it forward. Oh, Luke got a piece of that to Rob Dos Santos.
Plata, he'll take a shot, and a goal! Joao Plata!
Leo's ball, nice curl, this time headed for the goal!
This afternoon's match, a good ball into Lewis, what a strike! Zico Lewis.
Nice 1-2 there.
Here comes that scissors kick, and Isaac was alive to it.
Long range shot, curling, and it's in the back of the net!
And it's going to be Lewis, he just takes the strike, and Brandon Miller manages to get just a hair on it.
Austin Cole strikes first. Good ball in, John He's going to give it a track, deflected away by receiver. Hundley lets it fly, and Watt punches it away.
And it is a goal.
Fleming's in for JJ.
Here's Micheletto. Sends over, beautiful curler! Marco Micheletto. To the right side of the box, Robinson punts back, looking for some help. Deflected there, Jansen from the goal, stopped by Kirk.
Full head of steam. Perusa trying to chip the goalie, and that's exactly what happened.
Dennis. And that one off the crossbar, and Fitzgerald getting a piece of that.
Here's an opportunity. Zion buries it for the Red Wolves.
Advantage for the rest of this game. Endo going right at it, punched out by Herrera. Outstanding effort.
Cox runs over it. Second chance, Vega there, back of the net. Near post, headed on into the back of the net.
Hope you enjoyed that look at the start of the history of the Hounds. Like I said, we'll have many more of those features throughout the rest of the season here for home matches at Highmark. And also a glance at the best of the USL Championship and USL League One. So plenty of talent, as we talked about in the first half, enough to fill 36 USL Championship franchises. League One pyramid has been set up now. And we'll look just at the USL Championship for right now. Some news and notes, some points of interest from, well, now we are here into the 5th and the 6th week of the USL season. Well, here you go. Power rankings, you can find those at uslsoccer.com. St. Louis impressing early, so is Tampa Bay. A couple of squads there. Gene, they're looking for bounce-back seasons here in 2019.
Yeah, and they're both off to really impressive starts, I think, Matt. And the league has taken notice of what they've done, and they're certainly ready to push for the top spots in the league.
Kai Koreniuk, about 2 goals against Tulsa. Los Dos, LA Galaxy, gets a win. And by the way, getting back to St. Louis, they're in the Eastern Conference again. We'll see them again in here this year, as we will see the Rowdies in July. And the USL Championship Game of the Week on ESPN3. You saw that there. Out-of-town scores today. Busy day in USL Championship. 16 matches in all, so 32 of the 36 teams are in action on this Saturday, midway through April. Ottawa Fury got an afternoon win against Loudoun County FC, one of the newcomers to the league. Red Bulls 2, as always, competitive, beating Charlotte Independence. And we have some early action here at the bottom portion of the screen. No score Bethlehem and Charleston. No score Atlanta and North Carolina. Tampa Bay again out to an early lead. But a tough start for Louisville, Gene, no doubt.
Tough start for Louisville. They've had a real rash of injuries. I think it's made it very, very hard for them. And of course, we saw 2 guys for Louisville City go down in the Riverhound game last week. But Tampa is the group that I think has really turned it on, and they've come out of the gate flying.
Yeah, you'd expect more from them, and I think last year is going to look like an aberration. We look ahead here, games of the week. This week coming up, Austin Bold against Phoenix Rising. Lou City, the champs, get the spotlight. Kind of a southern derby there against Memphis 901, another new team to the league. Nashville and Tampa. Birmingham, there's one of the 7 expansion clubs. And then some out west action in early June. So there's where you can check out the games of the week. But, of course, every game in USL Championship is on ESPN+, in addition to these games on the ESPN family of networks. Back for the close of halftime and the start of the second half in just a moment from Pittsburgh, PA.
The Hounds continue their homestand next Saturday, April 20th, when the St. Louis FC come to town for a 7 p.m. match at Highmark Stadium. You can use the promo code 20 at Ticketmaster and get 2 seats for any of the Riverhounds April matches for just $20. Gates open at 5:30, dollar beers until kickoff. Find out more at riverhounds.com or call 412-865-GOAL.
At Moe's, we've always been real Southwest. And we're proud of it. It's in our name after all. And we've always been real people, using real Southwest flavors, making real Southwest eats. And we've always built everything right on the line, fresh, just for you. Real, fresh Southwest. Welcome to Moe's. Try Moe's new Moho chicken, made with all-natural chicken breast and a refreshing citrus sauce.
The Pittsburgh Taco Festival returns to Highmark Stadium on Saturday, June 1st, 2019. Enjoy 30-plus taco vendors, live music by Gavis Beat, and family-friendly entertainment. The festival is broken down into 2 sessions: afternoon from noon to 3 p.m. and an evening session from 4 to 7. VIP and general admission tickets are available, so get your tickets now at pghtacofest.com.
Pleasant Valley Golf Club, nestled in the Laurel Highlands of southwestern Pennsylvania, is now open to the public. Enjoy 18 holes of championship golf with a new island green and fully stocked pro shop. Our clubhouse features a large ballroom for weddings or private parties, 2 restaurants serving delicious food, a sports bar, 2 state-of-the-art golf simulators, and an outdoor patio with gas fire pit and picturesque view. Pleasant Valley Golf Club, now open to the public.
Hounds lead at 1-0 at the half. I'm Matt Geitka. Gene Klein is alongside. And we're looking forward to the second 45. But first, let's look back at the first 45 as the Riverhounds were able to strike and take advantage of the majority of the possession and really do what they should have done in this first half of their home opener. So here we go, taking it back to early action as Kerr lines it up. And remember that shot, he nearly picked that top corner. Kevin Kerr's had a lot of the ball in this first half.
He's had a lot of the ball as Nico Brett and as Anthony Velarde, and I think that's part of the game plan they're looking for. The Riverhounds, as we mentioned in the first half, have done a very good job of finding pockets of space between the lines of Hartford. And Hartford has done a good job with that one. We see that they did that twice, finding space between Adewale and Ryan James. And the Hounds are going to have to make sure that they tighten that up a little bit in the second half.
That was Rasmussen missing. Kerr on the cutback, and there is Dos Santos rising over Linga and putting it in the near side, nearly the side netting. And by the way, that is Kevin Kerr's 25th assist as a Riverhound. That ties him with David Flavius for the most in team history. So we have history tonight.
Yeah, terrific record. Of course, David Flavius, an inaugural member, our all-time leading scorer, and an inaugural member of the Riverhounds Hall of Fame.
Dos Santos had a crack at a brace very early on. This was in the 20th minute, and that's the lone save that John Kempen has come up with. More velocity than placement from Dos Santos there, but still a good opportunity. And I believe that was Forbes who sent it through.
Yep, and
yes, it was.
Yeah, that's Forbes. But a terrific little run from Dos Santos, just kind of peeled off to the outside of Delinga and made it very difficult for him to find him.
Pinballs around, does the ball here. Dover.
Yep, Jordan Dover from the outside back spot ended up in front of the 18, and certainly want to see a lot more of that mobility on part of the Riverhounds, and it's going to be interesting as we see what Hartford does, if they make any changes tactically to kind of deal with that mobility that the Riverhounds have displayed in the first half now.
So we'll look for some tactical changes as 2 teams switch side. Hartford will attack down to our right, moving to the east, up the Monongahela River. And the Riverhounds, dressed in white, with their keeper Ben Lundgaard handling that early long ball, will move down to our left toward the front office and the pub, and the team store. Highmark is hopping tonight for the home opener. Good to see it. Great to see it, in fact, and we're happy to be back after 4 straight road matches. We're just as antsy as the players, I think, to get this one going. James ushers that one into the possession of Lundgaard, with Dixon on the pressure.
Yeah, and that was the ball we saw in the highlights. We saw twice in the first half, Matt, where they tried to find Dixon between Adewale and Ryan James, but that time Ryan James tracked him effectively, and Lundgaard was able to easily pick that one up.
DeVitt heads it toward the center of the pitch. Bunky Azil, Velarde, and Brett spilled. There's another foul, and Hartford has to go on the back pedal here, but Forbes, well, he started it from a different spot, from where Austin Saney, the referee, wanted it. About 5 yards over to the left was Forbes' preferred position. He just wanted to get it going quickly, but not close enough to where the foul was committed.
You know, I do think if I'm Jimmy Nielsen in Hartford, you know, they get out at 1-0, despite the fact that Riverhounds had most of the possession.
Greenspan's there, heads it back across the face of goal. Dos Santos on a bounce, cracks it in, and there's Kempen short hopping that save. So Steven Dos Santos, 3 shots on target in this game.
He's been dangerous. He's been a handful for their 2 center backs, DeVitt and Lingo, and they're going to have to do a better job finding him.
And here's a giveaway. Velarde with some room. Velarde plays it square and kicked away. Brett was the intended receiver. James pounds it off the back of his own man, Forbes. Some frantic pressure here to start the second half for Pittsburgh. But Dixon will settle things down for Hartford, at least briefly. Dixon, Rasmussen, whirling around, connecting to Argudo, but Argudo's pass for Angulo was intercepted.
Well, you know, we said that if you're Hartford, you got out of that half only 1-0 down, despite conceding an awful lot of territory, an awful lot of possession. But it doesn't look like a good start. The Riverhounds are coming out flying a little bit, and Hartford a little bit, with some careless giveaways. And already Dos Santos has seen a couple dangerous situations.
Scramble for it now, DeVitt. And David header back to DeVitt. Little head tennis, and Hartford does have command again. Long ball, James and Adewale were both there to receive it for Pittsburgh and turn it back the other way. Kevin Kerr, 7th-year Riverhound, easily the longest tenured member of this club. He's seen every season at Highmark. Gave it into Dos Santos, and his volley goes high after he knocked it off his own face, I think, trying to corral it.
A terrific movement from Kevin Kerr. I mean, great composure, spun around a little bit, was able to get his head up and look and find Dos Santos in there. And I think, again, he's finding, as you said earlier, finding a lot of the ball, and we see it already. So there's the delivery into Dos Santos. Tough angle for him to do much with that one, Matt, but he was still able to get the shot off.
Battle for it here. Angulo takes control. Jose Angulo trying to play villain here at Highmark for once. Dixon wanted to return it to him, and that was on a line, but Greenspan put his head in the way. Bunky is heel on the break back, but too much on that ball, well ahead of Nico Brett. Lee right back into the attacking third with it, and it's Angulo stopping it before the byline. 1v2. Angulo falls down, and the ref says play on.
Yeah, nothing there, Jose.
Now
there's something
destroyed
there
on the sliding tackle, and it's a yellow card to Tyler David.
Yep. Yeah.
Dangerous tackle from David. That's the second card, both yellow, issued to Hartford. 50th minute for this one. Karinga has a yellow as well. And here's a discussion now between Angulo, who isn't a small man, but he looks rather diminutive next to Joe Greenspan at 6'6". Reminder that Riverhounds Soccer on ESPN Plus is presented by Number One Cochrane. Only Number One Cochrane provides you with a clearly better car buying experience, no pressure, no hassles, and a whole bunch of benefits, including a 3-day, 150-mile money-back guarantee. Number One Cochrane. Come on out and feel free to kick the tires. Get it? Get it? I love the puns.
We got it.
I'm going to revel in those.
Just don't go back to the Hartford Whalers.
Nothing wrong with that. One of the great logos in sports. Dos Santos looks to slip by. He's been a handful in this game again. Brett has it in bounds. Now it's Dos Santos turning. A little cheeky flick. Trying to find Kevin Kerr running back against the grain, but it's not going to happen. Karinga clears. Dos Santos has plenty of tools in the toolbox. A lot of little tricks as Angulo wants to buy a foul, and he can't do it again.
Yeah, can't do it. And Jimmy Nielsen going after the fourth official also saying the same thing. So they wanted something out of that. Jose Angulo looking immediately towards the assistant referee on that point. But they called it a fair challenge, and the Hounds come out with the ball.
Greenspan takes a step, drives it. Again, Dos Santos is the target. So often last week at Louisville on that tight surface, the Riverhounds bypassed the midfield. They were just driving balls up in the direction of number 8, and Dos Santos was the man playing playmaker a lot of times.
He was. He did come deep a lot for the ball, and you can see this game so far. He's rarely done that. He's staying up pretty high, trying to play off the shoulder of Lingo. Moving, spinning him a little bit, maybe towards the right side, but he is staying up on that back line and trying to stretch him with Nico Brett underneath. When he does come in, to receive the ball. We see Nico then stretching in behind Steven Dos Santos.
Already several fouls called against Hartford in the second half. They were issued 9 in the first 45 minutes. The Hounds had 6. Shots were just 6-3 Pittsburgh in the first half, but both on-frame shots belong to the Hounds. No corner kicks yet in this game. That's an oddity.
Yeah, that's unusual. What has happened, and trying to figure out where the referee wants to spot the ball. And now Toby Arwala is able to play it.
The Maryland native goes deep to Kerr. A little bit of a mishandle, but he'll be able to get around it near the corner flag.
Yeah, he's able to bring that down. He struggled with it a little bit off the first touch, but was able to still bring it under control.
Maybe the turf helped there. It didn't skid out.
Yeah. Last year, that thing bounces right out.
Probably. An incisive ball. Velarde back
ball.
Brett deflected crossbar. It was off a Hartford defender and then off the bar, and now it's driven out of play, inadvertently, of course.
Great little rollback from Anthony Velarde. A terrific little run. I'm sure Nico a little disappointed, but great combination play from the Riverhounds.
Brett seeking his second goal in as many games. It was about the time last year when Nico broke out with a hat trick against Toronto FC2.
And we see it again. It's coming from Kevin Kerr, but great run from Velarde. Great little rollback. Nico Brett again underneath Dos Santos and is able to get a first-time shot off. It just catches the crossbar and comes back out.
Angulo! Oh my! Jose Angulo pulls one back for Hartford, and we're tied in the 54th.
And that came out of nowhere.
He catches Lundgaard off his line, and Angulo scores at Highmark Stadium, but this time it's for the bad guys.
Wow, but we have seen him do that. He can do it from distance, and again, completely against the run of play, but you can't let a player like Jose Angulo free at any part of the field, and he's able to turn and catch Ben Lundgaard off his line.
Stunning. And as I mentioned, the equalizer, Hartford nearly conceding for the second time. Instead, we're level.
So, long kick from Kipman. He's able to bring that thing down and just have a go. And then,
look at the skill there.
Wow, and it just dipped right over Lundberg. Tough one from the handle. And, wow, as we said, that came out of nowhere. It came out of nowhere. I mean, just there's a couple players around. Jose Angulo did well to bring that thing down off of Kempkin's punt out of the goal area, and boom, just looked up and had a strike.
Just directly from keeper to striker. That was something. You're going to be seeing that on the highlight reels.
Yeah,
that's the Hound's chagrin.
That's proverbial Route 1 soccer, man. It's just boom.
Here's Angulo again seeking. So he felt like he probably should have drawn one foul out of the two situations where he was knocked down, and well, maybe he got some karma back the other way. Hard to say, but at any rate, we know that he's capable of things like that.
Tough one for Lundgaard for sure, but I'm sure he feels that he could have
Dover showing off some fancy footwork.
And get a little bit back on that to at least tip that one over. But it took a wicked dip underneath him.
Yeah, it sure did. It was struck, it knuckled at first, and then it dipped at the end as the spin took.
So we have a 1-1 tie here, Matt, and again, really, I'm sure that's where Hartford wants to be, but shocking a little bit to the Riverhounds. We'll see how they respond.
Oh, they're on the attack again here with Forbes, square to Velarde. Velarde a stutter step, and on to Brett. Will he have a go? No, he'll find Kevin Kerr, and offside, Pittsburgh.
You see it so often in this game. We have that brilliant little bit of combination from Kerr to Velarde to Nico Brett, who cracks one off the crossbar, and then, boom, next thing before you can blink, one pass all the way down to Angulo, who's able to turn and just strike a brilliant ball to even the score.
Jose Angulo's 48th USL goal, and now in his 6th USL season. Just made 4 appearances last year for OKC Energy, an injury-plagued season for Angulo. Played previously for St. Louis after departing Pittsburgh, also with Fort Lauderdale, the North American Soccer League. So it's two guys who've done it before in this league. Dos Santos in the first half and Angulo in the second. And we are knotted.
Angulo has been several places around the country since he left Pittsburgh, and but again, still able to produce.
And we'll take another look at this.
You can see just brings it down brilliantly with his left. It has a little bit of a, you know, and catches it off that little bounce, which enables him to hit that dipper because it's, you know, he's able to catch it off the turf a little bit. So there's not much rotation on that, as I think you had alluded to earlier. It just knuckled over Lundgaard.
When you strike it that clean, it sometimes does knuckle like that. And boy, did he crush it with the left foot. Here's Kerr with the right to the corner, and Velarde, who will chase it down. Ball settles for him there. Tries to get past Lee. Gave a little bit of a push, but play continues. Lee slings it ahead. Giuseppe Gentile. It's his first touch of the second half. He was very involved physically in the first. Look at that again. Dover, for the second time, pulls his way out of a phone booth on the sideline. Incredible. And now Dos Santos holds up, and his little touch pass away from Brett. More danger, though, in the attacking third for the Hounds. They're continuing to push the pedal down despite the goal against the run of play.
I wonder how many of our listeners know what a phone booth is.
Well, they were these things, you see, that, well, yeah, payphone is also foreign. I'm not that old, or am I? Tight space, we'll say that. And Dover, he had a few moments like that where he was able to escape.
Great.
Last year, but this year, well, in the first home game, he's showing off for the home fans.
Really did very well to come out of that tight space and find Dos Santos, and we have a corner kick.
That's a novelty in this one. Rasmussen will handle for Hartford. And the Hartford Athletic, with just its third goal in 6 matches on the board, will now seek a fourth and try to go ahead here in Pittsburgh. Here it comes from Rasmussen, the in-swinger. And there's Dos Santos putting in a defensive shift.
Yeah, dangerous ball from Rasmussen. He really whipped that thing in. Good in-swinger to the near post. Dos Santos did well. And here's a great counter.
Here come the Hounds. James putting the pedal down, but he couldn't get by his fellow speedster, Dixon.
Yeah, Dixon did well to track back on Ryan James.
Now Ryan James, he comes out of the weeds a little bit. You don't see him for a while, or at least I haven't, out of the corner of your eye. There comes number 7. More of a selective attacker at the wing-back position than, for instance, Ray Lee has spent so much time up the field for Hartford in this one. A little bit of a study of contrast there. And the two teams trying to do different things, obviously.
They have found Ray Lee a lot more than Kyle Karinga here on the right side. And they're able to push Ray Lee up a little bit higher.
It was more Dover doing the attacking for the Riverhounds last year. Lee didn't get up the surface as much. He's in a different spot here for Hartford.
Yeah, but great little
good play from
great
James.
Little battle going on between Dover and Lee as they're.
Well, they're on the other side now. We had a front row seat the first half.
Meeting up with each other here quite a bit.
So the Hounds led 1-0 in search of their second victory of the season. Argudo
trying to find Gentile.
Couldn't get it past Dover, who closed down the far touchline. Now Gentile will hop on a loose ball. Rasmussen wearing the captain's armband, the Dane. Gives it on back to his countryman.
I'll tell you, not a lot of space in the midfield. Again, the Hounds are making it very difficult for like Tyler David to find the ball, or even Rasmussen. He has to really work to find any kind of space in there. And
Kerr wins that battle.
Does well with that one.
Against the bigger man, Karinga. Kerr now looking with Karinga in his rear view.
Oh, great little
slings
spot
it
to
back.
Forbes.
Forbes and far wing Dover.
Velarde.
Velarde, Bankiazil, James. Pittsburgh pinging it around now. Some passes in close quarters, generating possession. Forbes, too far though. Linga stepped in front.
I really think the difference as far as the Riverhounds have a little bit more creativity because of the mobility of Kerr and Velarde and Nico Brett, as well as Dos Santos. So those front four are moving around and are able to find pockets of space and then combine. whereas we see Hartford a little more predictable. They've been going long into the corners.
Lead in for Angulo, and he nearly had a second.
Yeah, that time from the corner it almost worked. They find Gentili in there, and again Angulo on the end of some stuff.
You can't fall asleep with him lurking. Nearly force-fed that ball down Lundgaard's throat, who came out quickly, but a little bit behind the play. And, well, if Angulo had put it on target, it probably would have gone in.
Yeah, it really would have. I mean, and there's not much Joe Greenspan can really do with that. As tall as he is, that ball was delivered low. It was right on Angulo's head, and he almost put it away.
Select is the official ball supplier of the USL Championship and many of the finest leagues in the world. Since 1947, Select has been the leader in soccer ball quality and innovation. For the latest Select products and special offers, visit selectsportamerica.com. And here's the throw-in of the Select ball by James. Toby Adewale, former George Washington Colonial, drives it ahead. Funky is another college product. Couldn't find Dos Santos at the edge of the attacking third. Velarde juggling and now chasing with Leon at first for Hartford. Hartford 1, Pittsburgh 1. Into the final half hour of this one.
Yeah,
Highmark Stadium opener for 2019.
Coming up to the time here in the next 5-10 minutes, we might be seeing some changes and trying to bring in some fresh legs.
Velarde touches, fires, save made, and oh my, good job from Kempen to hang on to that. He must have Velcro on those gloves.
Yeah, really did. He did very, very well because that was spinning a little bit, and if he spills that one, Santos is right there.
Steven Dos Santos, call him Duba, and now here's another high boot, and will there be another card? It appears so. Linga gets this one, the third yellow to Hartford. This side had 7 cards in 5 games coming in. They picked up 3 in the opening 64 minutes tonight. So a dangerous play. Sets up the Riverhounds in a good spot. Almost dead on with the angle. Maybe that complicates things. Right in the center of the surface. And you'll see Velarde here.
Yeah.
I think I think what the referee thought he saw was a boot in the face, but I believe it was Linga kicking the ball into Velarde's face.
Yeah, he kicked it into him,
So the Hounds get a call there. And a card.
I mean, he raised his leg a little bit, but I don't know if it's worthy of a booking. Gerardo forces direct shot. We're going to see what he has to do with this one.
He's searching for his first goal of the year. He's going to have a go. So Forbes elects to just crack it.
Yeah, that's one of those, distance, 25, 30 out directly on. He doesn't really have much of an angle to play to anyone, but a little too far to go on goal. But if he strikes that correctly, if he strikes it, as well as he can put that in there, but a little bit too high.
John Kempen, native Kansan, drives it down the field, and Angulo is down, and apparently hurt for now. Adewale banged into him.
Yep.
And Angulo with his hand on the back of his head, as you see there on your device screen. Bob Lilly is screaming in the direction of the fourth official, Brad Newman. Angulo's up, and we'll have a second look at this one. Hartford's used the direct route often in this second half, and it's led to some productive situations.
Well,
might have been an elbow on the back of the head.
That's about the only thing, or maybe it was his knee because Jose Angulo went down. And I think that's what Bob is trying to say, that he went down into the play. Adewale was already in the air. What's he supposed to do with that situation?
Linga, big rip, but offline by about 5 to 10 feet.
Almost same spot that we saw Kenardo Forbes had one down to the other end just a minute ago. But that was not even on target.
Well, who's up, who's down in the USL Championship? Where does your club sit? Find out every Monday in the official USL Championship Power Rankings, only on USLChampionship.com. I get a new site. I think I said USLsoccer.com in the first half. It's USLChampionship.com. Velarde pulls this one down. Karinga drives it out. So the Hounds stung by the Angulo goal here in the second half. Little flick with the studs by Nico Brett sends Velarde into the area, and will this be off a Hartford player? Yes, corner kick. First corner of the game for the Riverhounds. We've had one apiece now.
Of course, the Hounds are, last year were very, very dangerous with, again, and I think even more dangerous this year because they have the big guy, Joe Greenspan. He's up inside the 6. Adewale's inside the 6, and they're looking for
Kerr's
Dos Santos.
corner. That is Greenspan, and unable to direct that on
Yeah,
line.
interesting little run there from Greenspan, who was up almost on the goal line on the keeper. Then he peels back into that far post. You have Dos Santos streak into the far post. So if it doesn't go to Greenspan, you have Dos Santos right behind him.
Greenspan scored 2 weeks ago at Philadelphia. Well, at Bethlehem, technically in Philadelphia.
Yeah.
At Talon Energy Stadium, the home of the Philadelphia Union of Major League Soccer. That was off of Canardo Forbes' corner, though, that Greenspan struck.
Yeah, terrific header from Joe on that one, and got up cleanly, and the big guy really powered it home.
Joe got more and more involved in the second half of last season as he got more confidence in the attacking third on those set pieces. He became an effective target, had a couple of goals because of that. James, a flick on to Dos Santos, who flicks again, but it doesn't hook up with Velarde. Hartford's Gentile couldn't control. Kerr.
Now we're seeing, in the first half we saw Kevin Kerr primarily on the left, Velarde on the right. Now they sort of switched here throughout most of this half. And we're seeing Kevin on the right, and of course Velarde's been very dangerous here from the left.
Angulo running to it, Ray Lee, stripped. Angulo gets it right back for Hartford. Gentile in the far corner. On his left foot, he has Rasmussen, and a save made by Lundgaard.
Oh, I saw Rasmussen there, and I was like, wow. And fortunately for Lundgaard, he hit it right at him, and he was able to get down on that because it was a quick one-touch ball.
I believe that's just the second shot on target for Hartford. The first was the Angulo goal. Hartford had none on line in the first.
He does very well to really take that right off the bounce from Gentile's pass.
So Hartford's found some options, some possibilities in the attacking side of the field.
Yeah, the rhythm is a little bit better. I don't know if they're that type of team that is going to try to wear you down with a lot of possession, because again, they try to play quick, they try to be a little bit more direct, but the tempo's more to their liking, because they've been able to play balls like this into Rayleigh with some distance, and now the Riverhounds are forced to get back. So that's really what they want to do. They want to stretch them out a little bit and force the Riverhounds to drop. And if they can drop, then they can find spaces just like this. And great touch from
Angulo. Argudo, and he tried one more for Gentile, stepping up Ray Lee, blocked by Canardo Forbes.
I thought Argudo had he could have had a go there. Terrific little flick from Jose Angulo, and maybe he goes up first time with that one.
The Angulo to Argudo connection, maybe that'll be a thing in Hartford. And this ball's played too far for Dixon to get around. Velarde to open space. I think he thought there was a man there. Perhaps just a miss hit from the Hounds rookie.
So Hartford really picking up, putting the Riverhounds under a little bit of pressure. I think the goal, unnerved the Hounds a little bit, and they were very, very comfortable prior to that time, and now good ball, well done from Ryan James, but again trying to find Dixon here and use his speed to get behind our backs.
Adewale slid. Dos Santos gets his first touch in a while, and he hooks up with Velarde, but again the Riverhounds are offside. My goodness, they've had a couple of promising attacks squelched by the flag.
Looks like Jimmy Nielsen's going to make a couple changes.
He has two men lined up, Sebastian Dalgaard, 27-year-old from Denmark, and also Ryan Williams, or pardon me, Jonathan Brown.
Jonathan Brown, yeah.
From Wales, 28-year-old. 8 internationals on this Hartford squad. Dixon had it slid away and held in by Adewale.
Well done by Adewale.
How about that? Doesn't get much better than that as a defender. You dispossess and you take it yourself. Bonke Azil through open space to Kerr, and Hartford simply knocks it out. Jimmy Nielsen's trying to get the attention of the head referee, and the substitutions, plural, will be made. Dixon is out for Jonathan Brown. Surprised by that. Dixon's been one of their more effective players. Jonathan Brown, a former OKC Energy player under Nielsen, and Nielsen gives Dixon a big bear hug.
Gentili out. So he's going with, he's really trying to get some fresh legs out wide, Matt, with the two wingers out, Gentili and Dixon.
Gentile out. Dalgaard in. Dalgaard's got the double familiarity with Nielsen from the same nation of Denmark, and also the OKC connection.
OKC connected, yeah.
Kind of like what Bob Lilly has done here in Pittsburgh. Plenty of former Rochester Rhinos on the squad.
Yeah, you're looking for guys you're familiar with and are familiar with you, and so there's that sense of comfort and that you know each other, you know what the expectations are, and you know your limitations. The players know what to expect from the coach, so they're a little bit more comfortable, a little more settled. So even though it might be a different city, it's the same culture, the same environment as far as they are from the playing surface is concerned. So, you know, no surprise. We've seen Bob do it and bring in plenty of ex-Rhinos, and Jimmy Nielsen's done it with OKC.
What does Velarde have in mind? James on the overlapping run. Now Kerr into space. Let's one go.
What a
scored! Kevin Kerr with a bullet to the back of the net. And the Hounds have a 2-1 lead. And who else but Mr. Riverhound, Kevin Kerr.
Oh, hello, Kevin Kerr. What a terrific strike from him. Again, finding that space in front of the backs, able to release it. Nobody stepped up on him, and boom, found the back post. Terrific strike from Kevin Kerr.
Kevin Kerr shoots to thrill, and in that familiar run to the corner flag, he fires his archer's arrow up into the heavens, and the Hounds have their noses back ahead into the 75th minute replay time.
Yeah, there it is, Velarde again to Ryan James. Kevin Kerr again between the lines in front, pulls the trigger. They can't step up on him. The guy just came into the game. Brown does not get out quick enough. Kevin Kerr, he's a marksman. He can find those spots, and he's able to really just bend it in inside the back post really, really well. But it's his ability to find those pockets. We've been talking about it all game, Matt. That experience that he has. You know, you're not going to see, you know, anybody. You're not going to see terrific pace or speed out there. But as far as the thought process, the soccer brain, it's faster or as fast as anyone out there on the field.
The senior member of the Hounds, Kevin Kerr, at 30 years old, a couple of months older than Kennardo Forbes. Good eye sniper. We haven't seen a shot sighted up like that. Bent it around Sem DeWitt, the defender, who I think when he let that one go, he thought, that's going wide. Yeah. And instead it bent inside the post, and a full stretch from John Kempen. Give him credit, too. He was almost there, but may have gotten a thumb on it, but not enough to keep it out. And so Kerr strikes here. Incredible goal. We've seen two highlight-type tallies here tonight. Anthony Velarde is going to check out. The Hounds are going to their bench. Noah Frankie, the second-year Hound, the wing back, make his way in, or winger probably, more appropriately. So Velarde. It was Velarde to James to Kerr on that goal.
And there's Kerr again, just takes a touch, boom, whips it in.
Look at it.
Kempen's out, and it just, again, has enough swerve to get around him. And here comes Mo Dabo in for Kevin Kerr. So terrific ovation from the Steel Army and from the fans. Standing ovation for Kevin Kerr as he comes off the field to give the Riverhounds a 2-1 lead.
Number 2 in club history, now with 77 career points. He has a goal, he has an assist tonight. Kevin Kerr, how about it? An honest day's work. 76 minutes worth, and he cedes his spot to Mohamed Dabo, a more defensive-minded player.
Yeah,
now
so
it's time to protect for the Riverhounds.
Yeah, they're going to try to tighten up a little bit in the midfield, perhaps. You know, well, Dabo will probably sit there a little bit in the middle. So he and Vankia Zeal and Kennardo Forbes will really tighten it up there and make sure that, you know, nothing's getting through. Whereas Kevin, again, a little more attack-minded. And also from Noah Franke, they want a little bit more extra pace and somebody to get up and down and perhaps track Ray Lee, who has been dangerous going forward for Hartford. But, you know, for Hartford, heartbreaker on that goal, because they really, as we had mentioned, started to find a little bit of the rhythm and find their game a little bit, and you know, their tempo was good. They were doing well. They were having a little bit more of the play, trying to find some, you know, after Jose Angola's missile to even the score, they really picked up the play a lot. But that's a heartbreaker. And you know, when you're on a losing streak like that, Matt, you know, those things just are difficult to deal with.
Kevin Kerr must be a fan of symmetry, because just after he picked up his 25th assist, about a half an hour after that, or maybe closer to a full hour, he registered his 25th goal. So he has 25 goals, 25 assists as a Riverhound in 152 games played.
Well, you know, talking with Bob Lilly earlier in the week, and he said what a terrific preseason Kevin Kerr has had, and he's really been impressive. And, you know, with all these new guys and younger players coming in, he, you know, as I said, his soccer IQ is so high that the speed of play is still there, and we could see it tonight with a goal and assist.
Now Forbes showing some patience, as you'd imagine. Another one of these leaders on the Hounds who've had plenty of time at this level, and now Forbes in his second year as a Riverhound. Lundgaard, he's trying to make his way in the pros right now.
Well, you know, here we go with, you know, you call him the Swiss Army knife, the jack of all trades, Thomas Vankia Zeal, who's now moved out to outside back to deal with that dangerous flank. And Mo Dabo has moved into his spot as that holding midfielder. So, again, interesting. And I think what Bob saw that when Gentili was out there, that
Dos Santos flicks, and he's yanked on. It's a penalty kick. They gave it. The point to the spot from head referee Austin Saney. And Dos Santos has earned it. And disbelief being shown by Hartford. I thought maybe, you know, good effort, good gamesmanship from Dos Santos.
Yeah.
I didn't expect to see the PK awarded.
I was a little bit surprised myself. So I'd like to, you know, we'll see this one again. Dos Santos doesn't seem surprised.
He's probably saying, hey, I earned that all night.
He's saying, I earned that from Louisville last week. You know?
He did probably get the short end of a non-call in Louisville that could have been a PK in the first half down there last week. Actually, that was off of a Hartford foot. I thought it was Dos Santos, and he gets held on to.
It looks like there's a trip out there after he spun away. And if they did take him down, that was...
I think it was Linga who grabbed onto his jersey.
Yeah, not smart.
There was a jersey pull, but I didn't think it was close enough to the ball.
Yeah, and it was inside the box for sure.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
And so he left the referee with no choice. We see Nico Brett.
Brett, can he make it 3-1? With the right foot, and he goes right up the middle and scores the goal. The Hounds' third of the home opener, and that may have put this one on ice. Still 10 minutes to go in this one, but Brett scores a PK goal for the second consecutive game, the second of the year, 15th or 17th as a Riverhound, 15 last year, so he's off and rolling. Those are confidence builders for Brett. Insurance talent.
And the crowd is rocking and rolling. We feel our press box shaking. So, you know, terrific way to finish up for the Riverhounds. Nico Brett just goes right down the pipe as we see Kempen go to his right.
Kempen gives him a thumbs up.
Yeah.
Some sportsmanship from Kempen. He's saying, all right, you fooled me.
Steel Army celebrating.
So, Nico.
But again, I mean,
adds to his ledger.
For Hartford, similar to, you know, when
As
when
Brett's goal
things
gets
are not
announced.
going well, you know, every little thing continues to go bad for them, and it's just difficult. They play well in stretches, they get back into the game, and then boom, within a matter of minutes, they're down 2 goals. You know, you're on the road, you're on a losing streak, and it just can't seem to really keep the momentum going and really keep their focus and their concentration.
Adewale ran right through Luis Argudo after the strong challenge. The crowd loved it. And it appeared to be a legal challenge as well. At least that was the ruling
great
here.
Ball to Ray Lee.
Lee is in. Lee slides it through on the ground.
Yeah.
Angulo was the target, but it's picked off by Greenspan. And Forbes. Maybe the Hounds can get another one here on the break. Forbes pulls away from one man. Argudo hustling back to get in front of him.
Well done from Canardo Forbes. Nothing going, nothing happening. Let's bring it back. Let's manage the game a little bit. You know, you saw it. He broke away from Rasmussen. He was able to get back to him. But now the Riverhounds are in a good spot with possession. And that's what they need to do. They need to keep it a little bit and again, force Hartford just to chase the game.
Well, just 10 minutes ago, Hartford was looking like they might steal 1 point or even 3 in Pittsburgh, threatening after Angulo's equalizer. But now the Riverhounds have struck twice, and it's a celebratory atmosphere on the south side. And if you know the south side, it knows celebratory atmospheres. Dabo.
This is the place to celebrate.
It really is. And it has been for a long time. Ryan James pulling back. Little poke to Dabo. Now the Hounds can play the possession game.
They're not going to really work.
They were until
that
misfire.
Touch, and we're going to see
dueling substitutions.
Yeah, it looks like Robbie Mertz.
Oh, yeah.
Pittsburgh native. Good to see him make his debut here.
But right now, Hartford will make the first change. Karinga out, and the Polish national, Wojciech. Waiting all night to say that one, too. And there is Robbie Mertz from Upper St. Clair, just down the road from here. The Pittsburgh suburb in the South Hills. Mertz played his college ball at the University of Michigan, was an all Big Ten performer. And Mertz gives the Hounds a hometown player here in 2019. James, and now Mertz. Did the ball go out? Yes, it did.
Yeah, great to see Robbie out there. He's been a fixture around here for a long time. Played for Century United, their club, and you know, really great to see his development coming up as a youth player. Did so well, as you mentioned, at Michigan, all Big Ten, and now here at the professional ranks. Has to be a little bit of thrill. Trained with the Rebound Academy a number of years, so it's good to see him in there. And I know this too. I mean, he's not a token player because that's not part of Bob Lilly's DNA. I mean, he had to earn a roster spot. He had to earn a spot in the 18, and he has to earn his minutes out here every night. So he's a player who's going to work hard. He's going to give us a burst of energy. He has great movement and mobility, and like so many of these other guys we brought in this year, a great little soccer IQ.
So Mertz checks in, wearing the Hounds white. It's the first time they've worn the white uniforms this year. They've gone with the black and gold on the road. They wanted to break in these new unis. A little touch of gold on the front, but mostly a very clean, traditional look for the Riverhounds here with this kit. And, you know, Mertz is going to be hanging on to that jersey. Number 24 joins Dos Santos at the tip of the spear here now, as the throw will come from Jordan Dover over on the Riverside. 86th minute. Kerr and Brett scoring here in the second half for the Hounds. Dos Santos has a crack, and just outside the outstretched left arm of keeper Kempen.
Hounds looking for a little bit more.
Hey, why not? This is their high water mark in game number 5. They had not scored 3 until this one. A couple of 2-2 draws on the road. Well, nearly slipped into trouble there by Kempen.
Yep.
Mertz and Dos Santos were closing down space.
And again, the Riverhounds done that really well all night. As we see Robbie Mertz closing down the Vitt.
Lundgaard.
Lundgaard's up for that one.
Well, the goal is there are no easy balls there. That's what the Hounds are trying to do and make sure that teams don't get a chance to relax. And for the most part tonight, they've accomplished that. It's amazing how goals change games. As you said, Gene, the Angulo strike really quieted this place down for a while. And I think, like you said, I do think it took some starch out of the Hounds for about 10 or 15 minutes.
It took a little air out of the balloon for a while, and it took them, because it was a shocking goal. It was against a run of play, and boom, it's like I said, he turns around and hits a knuckling missile from about 35, 40 yards, and then all of a sudden, Hartford has a little bit of belief, and then they pick up their momentum, and so, but then we see Kevin Kerr strikes that second goal, and boom, the air went out of their balloon. So it was difficult for them to deal with it. And again, when you're on a bit of a losing streak and nothing is going well, and you fight back to make it even and think, hey, I can get out of here with a point. Here's one.
Mertz is open.
Robbie
Mertz, the Pittsburgher, pulls it back, and he was closed out by DeVitt. Still Mertz with it to Forbes, who dodges the defending of Tyler David. Hounds still in possession. And it's Noah Frankie hopping on. Former Creighton Blue Jay, Noah Frankie. Returning here, he brings the pace, and a good cross. Mertz rising up, and well, he was at a size disadvantage there against DeVitt, but he still nodded it toward the target.
Yeah, one thing about Robbie Mertz, it doesn't matter what the size is. It's not going to impact him. He has no fear in his game.
Just a great success story for Pittsburgh soccer. Every time this happens, you see the pathway to the pros. That's the idea. That's part of the reason why the Hounds are even here, to give a target to Western PA players.
Yeah, and we look back at the 20th anniversary, and the first two players we signed were two local kids, Justin Evans and Gary DePalma. Both went on to get some, have great careers, those were two kids that could play anywhere. Justin Evans ended up spending a number of years in MLS.
Across.
And of course, taking over as the head coach. Yep.
Coach for a couple of seasons. Earlier part of this decade, Dos Santos wants to put on a show right at the end of the home opener. Prevented from doing so there. And Wojcik. Drop back. Angulo still has some jump in those legs. Angulo. Out wide here. Jonathan Brown. The Welshman to the back post, and it's off the head of Wojcik and toward the Steel Army. I believe we heard 4 minutes of stoppages upcoming, so not quite done yet. In the debut act for the 2019 Pittsburgh Riverhounds Soccer Club. This will be, assuming they convert, just the Hounds' second victory in 7 home openers at Highmark Stadium. They won in 2015. That was also a big night for Kevin Kerr, a hat trick. Rob Vincent had a couple of goals. And a 5-2 win against Harrisburg City.
That was quite a combination with Kevin Kerr and Robbie Vincent a few years ago. And we're hoping to see Kevin, liked how Kevin combined with not only Steven DeSantos, but Nico Brett, Velarde, just some great combinations in there.
So if you had to draw it up, yeah, Angulo's goal hurt and stung for a bit, but the Hounds showing off some of that newfound offensive quality. And well, not so newfound in the case of Kevin Kerr, but maybe in a position to do more of that this year.
Yeah.
Didn't score a ton last season. Shoved from behind and spun down Noah Frankie. Easy foul call as we move into stoppage time.
I think what we've seen so far this season with the Riverhounds, it is much better suited to how Kevin Kerr can play. Because, again, you have a number of players who can stay connected, and we saw a number of players coming into the game, a lot of combination play. Not nearly as perhaps impatient or as direct as we saw a little bit last year, and a lot of fluidity, a lot of mobility from that front 4 or 5. So that's right. That plays to Kevin's strengths because, again, he's the kind of guy that is going to be able to find little pockets. And if you give him time, as we've seen, not only can he deliver a good free kick, a good cross, but also hit a terrific shot.
James allows it to roll out. The throw into Mertz. Is there a 4th goal in the Hounds? Maybe it's going to be Mertz authoring something. Mertz cuts in. Oh, he caved to Dos Santos. And, well, Stevens buried a lot in this league, but that one he'd like to forget.
Yeah. Great little run by Robbie Mertz, able to get away from some people. You can see his strength, his balance, is able to hold some guy off and was able to just put that one out to Steven DeSantos, but maybe not really balanced, didn't have a good body shape to really strike through that one.
And fatigue setting in late as well. That doesn't help. DeSantos has pushed it hard, just as he did last week at Louisville. Sliding tackle in the corner. Forbes falls on his backside, and it's a corner kick. Next home game for the Riverhounds is next Saturday against St. Louis FC. The return of the franchise that's bounced back and forth between the Eastern and the Western Conference a couple of times since coming into the league in 2015. 7 o'clock start at Highmark. We'd love to see you here, but if not, you can check us out. It'll be Gene and I returning on ESPN Plus with the broadcast. It's a second consecutive corner. Riverhounds aren't even trying to swing it into the box. They're looking to kill time at this point, up 3-1.
Still probably a minute or so to go.
And no doubt they'll play it short here, barely touching
Deep
it.
into stoppage time.
Is Forbes. They're looking to dig a hole in the corner with it. Rasmussen, though, flicks it out for Hartford, and the visitors do escape here. Wojcik, well, the dish hopped right past Argudo. So Hartford will drop to 0-6 on the season. And still 2 more road games left to endure, including next week at New York Red Bulls 2. Actually, it's a Wednesday game, midweek game in New Jersey. Brown on one hop, Lundgaard, not even a shot, but he'll have to make a save on it. Intended to be a cross.
Looks like almost fooled Lundgaard for a second. He had to adjust his hands to deal with that, but he held it cleanly, and now waiting for everybody to get out and making sure Jose Angola's not around him. And he's going to knock this one up. And
the Hounds, who lost their opener at Tampa, then conceded a late lead at Kansas City in a 2-2 draw. Actually had to rally back on a Velarde PK to get a draw at KC. Well, now they have won 2 in a row. There's the final whistle.
Final whistle.
Hounds win. Hounds win. They make it a Super Saturday here on April the 12th, 2019. 1-0 at home are the Riverhounds, and for the season 1-2. A great effort here, especially in the second half, to push back. Angulo struck fear in the hearts of Hounds fans, but Pittsburgh had a pushback, and so the Hounds convert and win it by a couple of goals. When we come back here on ESPN Plus, we'll look at the highlights and put the bow on the show from Highmark Stadium. Keep it right here.
The Hounds continue their homestand next Saturday, April 20th, when the St. Louis FC come to town for a 7 p.m. match at Highmark Stadium. You can use the promo code 20 at Ticketmaster and get 2 seats for any of the Riverhounds April matches for just $20. Gates open at 5:30, dollar beers until kickoff. Find out more at riverhounds.com or call 412-865-GOAL.
What do you call it when Western Pennsylvania's largest automotive retailer begins selling the region's most popular brand?
Chevroletary, which also describes our grand opening offers.
Introducing the all-new #1 Cochran Chevrolet, where you'll find a special 2-year lease on a sporty Trax from just $99 a month. The unequaled Equinox as low as $139 a month, plus $1,000 extra for trades at the all-new #1 Cochran Chevrolet.
The Pittsburgh Taco Festival returns to Highmark Stadium on Saturday, June 1st, 2019. Enjoy 30-plus taco vendors, live music by Gavis Beat, and family-friendly entertainment. The festival is broken down into 2 sessions: afternoon from noon to 3 p.m. and an evening session from 4 to 7. VIP and general admission tickets are available, so get your tickets now at pghtacofest.com.
Well, that's your ball game from Pittsburgh. The Riverhounds convert, and a 2-goal second half is decisive as Pittsburgh puts a 3 spot on the board for the first time. The conversations are ongoing. You see former Riverhound Ray Lee chatting with Kevin Kerr. I'm Matt Geico with Gene Klein, and no doubt the man of the match is the man you're looking at right there in the pink penny. Kevin Kerr, 1 goal, 1 assist. he gets the game winner. And as we look at the highlights, you'll see plenty of number 10 in white. Back in the first half, here is Curtis Dos Santos for the opener.
Yeah, terrific ball, but again, Kevin Kerr was finding a lot of space out wide on the left side, cuts it back on his favored right foot, puts it right on the noggin of Steven Dos Santos, and he gets up and knocks that one home to give the Riverhounds a 1-0 lead.
Direct route here in the second half. After the Hounds had just missed, Brett hit the crossbar. Jose Angulo, the former Riverhound, stunning stuff, beautiful stuff from him.
Unbelievable strike from Angulo. Lundgaard could not get back on that one in time. Knuckled over him, and what a goal. And all of a sudden, Hartford was back in the game and was level.
Like you said, they had belief, but until Kevin Kerr cut in and precisely placed that one in the side netting. Yeah. How about it?
Terrific there. Ryan James to Kerr, sees his space, boom, takes it on his right, and boom, puts a little bit of swerve on that, a little bit of a rotation to get it around Kempen, and that's the game winner. And then
here we see Linga holding on to Dos Santos.
Holding on to that, just, not very smart.
PK, Brett converts his second PK goal of the season, his second goal overall. After 15 last year, Brett and Kerr are tied for the team lead with 2 goals apiece, and the Riverhounds have a couple of wins back-to-back. Your stats, didn't get a chance to look at them at the half, but the Hounds, take my word for it, had 12 shots in the second half. So things opened up eventually for them. And possession, I think a little closer than maybe it appeared at the start. A good spurt at the start for the Riverhounds, and then a strong finish.
Yeah, very strong finish for the Riverhounds. And again, there was Hartford had their moments. They have to be disappointed with how it ended up. Right now it's just not going well for them, and they have to find a way to turn it around.
So a special start for the Riverhounds here in its 20th anniversary season for Riverhounds Soccer Club. And as we get ready to say goodbye, I want to say thank you again for watching this evening on ESPN+. Pretty thrilling stuff. And as I said, Gene Klein will be back alongside next week. St. Louis, it's a challenge, Gene. No doubt about it. The competition will pick up for Pittsburgh.
No, it really, really will. And I'm sure that the Riverhounds and Coach Bob Lilly are excited for this next one with St. Louis. They want to see if they can test themselves.
So some confidence for the Hounds. They win it 3-1. Good night from Pittsburgh. We'll talk to you next week.
Good night.
This copyrighted telecast of the United Soccer League Championship cannot be retransmitted, rebroadcast, or reproduced without the expressed written consent of the United Soccer League Championship.